Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of old sheet music. I'm your host, Nicholas Carroll. Tonight, we are looking at another student study piece. This one is called Polka, a Czechoslovakian folk dance for solo piano by June Waybright. And here is the cover. This particular sheet music is in fairly good condition. It doesn't look like anyone ever practiced out of it. It has a 40 cent here and then a handwritten 25 cents in pencil over it, so maybe it didn't sell and some store marked the price down there by hand. But inside there is no writing of any kind, no fingering, nothing like that, no dates of when it was assigned, and it is not bent or no dogged edges even, so it's in great shape. It is from 1955. So I say it's in great shape given that age, in that clearly it really wasn't used. So June Waybright is someone who made something called the bell-win piano method, which didn't really become super popular or take hold. They still do print it. It was eventually bought by Alfred Piano Company. That still publishes, but of course, even though bell-win is not like super obscure, it's not one of the main methods that you would hear people talk about. So I certainly have never learned from it myself or taught from it myself, though I am aware of it and kind of know a little bit about it just from studying piano teaching, but it's not one of the more popular methods. So clearly this was to go along with it. It even has bell-win written down here. And this was meant to be probably a recital piece, like a sheet music you would do with your student who was using the bell-win piano method. Some people don't know much about polka other than they've heard it. They think accordions and those sorts of things. But polka literally means female person from Poland. So the name polka was just kind of attributed to the fact that those are the people who would do the dance in the old times, traditionally. Of course, it spread into Czechoslovakia and a couple other countries around there, became popular all around the world. But it isn't a genre that has like a really specific rule to it. So when you think of a waltz, you know it has to be in 3/4 time. Or you think of certain other genres, they have kind of rules to them. But polka is a pretty wide-ranging term. It doesn't mean it has to be 3/4, it doesn't mean it has to be 2/4, it doesn't mean anything like that. Usually it is lively, just because of traditionally that, folk tradition, but it isn't like a rule that it needs to be that. This particular one is written in 4/4. It's moderato, so it's not very fast. It's really quite simple, so clearly it is like a early intermediate style piece for a student to play and kind of show what they've learned. It looks like it features mostly eighth notes, a little bit of crescendos would be probably the new thing they were teaching with this piece. So, without further ado, here we are with polka. So really not much variation. It does have a teachable moment, I guess you could say, in the sense that it has this main theme that we heard at the beginning with quarter notes, and then it kind of just has a variation on that with eighth notes, so it's basically the same tune. So that'd be something you could focus on when you're teaching it. It's short, and it, I think, would be a little bit interesting, of course, being only 2 pages. You might have to put in some repeats or something if you wanted to do a performance and your student knew it at full speed. I think it's interesting here on the back, like some of these I've shown before, it does have a very long list of all these other sheet music pieces that are by this same person, June Waybright. Clearly she had really focused a lot on writing a lot of pieces to use for recitals and get, students encouraged. Even today, it's true that if you have a recital, rather than, even though your method book may have a lot of good pieces in it, just the fact that it's a separate thing gives it like an air of specialness, that having a special sheet kind of encourages the student to, feel like this is a special thing to learn from. So that's one reason we use sheet music. It's not just like, oh, we're too cheap to buy a whole book. It's more like it has its own artwork. It gives the piece kind of an air of specialness then for the student. So that is Polka by June Waybright in the Bellwin piano method.